was a
For
tech demo.
those that may not have seen his comments, let's run through his comments and see what he actually said this time, because it's not the first time
Yeah.
he dunked on Marvel.
Yeah, so this
Did you
time...
want me to read, or you want to read, Nate?
Oh, I'll do it. So he's
Sure.
talking very specifically about Zoe Saldana and Sam, right? Their characters. So Zoe and Sam now play parents 15 years later. In the first movie, Sam's character leaps off his flying creature and essentially changes the course of history as a result of this crazy, almost suicidal leap of faith. And Zoe's character leaps off a limb and assumes there's going to be some nice big leaves down there that can cushion her fall, but when you're a parent, you don't think that way. So for me, as a parent of 5 kids, I'm saying, what happens when those characters mature and realize that they have a responsibility outside their own survival? When I look at these big, spectacular films, and this is the call out, I'm looking at you, Marvel and DC. It doesn't matter how old the characters are, they all act like they're in college. They have relationships, but they really don't. They never hang up their spurs because of their kids. The thing that really grounds us and gives us power, love, and purpose, those characters don't experience it, and I think that's not the way to make movies. Andre.
Yeah. Well, there are.
He's got it,
There's a lot.
Does
There's
actually
a
have
lot to
point.
unpack here. There's a lot to unpack here in these comments. First and foremost, he is not wrong. Because what he's talking about is a very different kind of filmmaking in a sense. He's talking about thematically about what the movies really are about. Basically, what he wants the Marvel and DC movies to be, certainly have an element of, is Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. Because when you look at what that movie really is about, it's Captain Kirk coming to terms with that he is now middle age and he has regrets over the life that he has lived. He has no kids or anything like that, so he doesn't have to worry about being alive for someone else. He doesn't have that, but he has regrets that he doesn't have that. And this is part of the reason why The Wrath of Khan is such a special movie, because it's a movie, a mainstream movie, a sci-fi movie that deals with growing old. And that's kind of what he wants to see more of in Marvel and DC. He wants to see the characters get to a stage where they suddenly, and I can, as a parent, I know exactly where he's coming from, because like before, it's like I could do whatever, it doesn't really matter because it's just me. But suddenly, as a parent, your life changes in a sense. Now you have to live for someone else. It matters what you do because you have to be there. You have to provide. You have to guide for the next generation. And it's everything else you do is completely secondary to that. And this is something that he's going to feel very strongly, having 5 children, as he said. So he has that very, very much so. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, the problem with that. The thing with DC and Marvel is that they are 4-quadrant movies with wide appeal. It's not just that they're immature movies. It's not just that they deal with kind of like adolescent themes, kind of like carefree from you as when you're 20 and stuff like that. The reason they're universal is because teens and kids who are under that age, they can recognize themselves into it. They want to be the hero. The people who are in that age, they are living that carefree non-superhero equivalent. And even older people, whether you have children or not, you will remember back to the time in your life when you could live like that, which is why those themes, which assumes you kind of like live like a 20-something lifestyle, that has universal appeal because everyone can recognize themselves into it one way or the other. Here's the problem with what James Cameron wants. He assumes that everyone has the experience of being parents. I don't know that people who aren't parents, no matter what age, are going to feel what he does. And he is now talking about making a very mature movie And you absolutely need those movies, but those kind of movies, they're no longer four-quadrant movies. Now they have a very specific appeal to those that have children and certainly have experienced that life changed now. For all the audiences out there that don't have that experience, that thing in Avatar is going to go right over their heads unless he has really pulled it off masterfully. So he's not wrong, but he can't hold Marvel to that standard because their movies cost like $200 million each, which means they have to appeal to everyone. That doesn't mean that you don't have to see yourself on screen, but you do have to empathize with the characters on screen. And everyone can do that right now. Do what James Cameron says right now, and the only people who will be able to do that are those in that situation who's lived that. You're going to rule out huge swaths of the target audience, and I question the wisdom of doing this in an Avatar movie of all things. This is one of the most expensive movies ever made. It needs to appeal to everyone. The first Avatar did that. As a storyteller, I understand what he's doing. I understand where he's coming from. But if he wanted to tell that story, the budget needed to come down because he's automatically going to limit the appeal. So I think that he's going to make probably a better movie, but one that has less appeal, and that many people are just going to be like, well, that was some touchy-feely drivel. I don't care about that.
So it's $1 billion for James Cameron's Avatar sequels. Now they say it could be a bargain, but I disagree. This is 2 years old.
Okay, when you say was actually Scott
wait.
Mendelson, the king of shit takes.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But there's even worse because they even quote they even talk about the marketing budget that they projected to be. This is 2 years ago. It's like $1.6 billion it's going to be. $1.6 billion for Avatar and its sequels. $250 million each. Plus marketing each. That's
How
4
many
movies.
Is that? Four movies.
4 extra movies.
So that comes down to $250 million per film on average then.
I mean, that's insane.
Which for 4 movies, it's not too bad.
You're banking.
If marketing is included, if that's just a production cost,
no, that's just production.
You have to pay. Okay, so then you have another $500 million to market it on top of that. Well,
so
Bob Chapek is going to want to start. Chapek is going to want to strangle Bob Iger for having bought Fox and landed them with this.
Fucking, I cannot.
So what's the math?
Yeah.
So what's the math? Four movies at 1.9, 1.8 billion.
No, so 4 movies at $250 million a pair, plus marketing costs of like 150.
Say 150 million in marketing for each of them. So then we are talking a total negative cost of 1.6 billion in a total negative cost, including marketing. Right. That has to be made back in theaters and on streaming. Wow. Good luck with that, even if it's over 4 movies, because then, basically you're going to need like 4 Avengers movies to make that kind of money back again. If that was Avengers movie, that would be like one thing. But Avatar, it was the biggest movie of all time at the time when it came out, but it left 0 cultural footprint, and the 3D was a very, very big part of why it was so popular. In fact, I would say that was the most important reason.
People hate 3D now.
Isn't this?
Yeah, because it's been cheapened, and everyone else failed to do what Cameron did. Sorry, Paul.
I didn't like 3D anyway. I thought it was crap. I really my eyes don't get a lot. It gives me a headache. It legitimately gives me a headache. 3D stuff.